This is Craig with Squappy's Drone Videos, and today I'm going to teach you how to take beautiful shots with auto exposure bracketing. Stay tuned. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and do some AEB shots with the drone. I'm going to go ahead and set the camera up so that way my exposure level is at 0. I'm going to go ahead and use a couple of shots as a base. We're going to go ahead and take a single shot here, normal single shot, followed by an AEB shot, which is going to be auto exposure bracketing. And what that does is that it does take 5 shots in succession, all at different exposure levels. We're going to go ahead and do that here. Once it takes these photos, we'll pop it over to Lightroom. Alright, here we are in Photoshop Lightroom Classic CC. What we want to do is start by hitting import and then finding the photos that we had just taken. So for example, mine is in Macintosh storage. Drone photos. It's actually under today's date, which is 3/22/19. And then I just go ahead and tell it to import. It will import all the files that I did take. Load, and once they load, we have the single shot up the upper left hand corner. That's shot number 1. Then you have the 5 bracketed photos right after that. So what we want to do is select the 5 bracketed photos. That would be photos 2 through 6. Right click, then from there you want to go to photo merge and hit HDR. When you do that, it does take a little bit for the HDR preview to go ahead and load up here, as you can see. We'll wait for that to go through. Alright, that is done. So that's the preview. There are some other options here. This is going to be for if there's movement or anything like that. You have the low, medium, and high settings for motion blur. So if there's a car going by the picture or something like that, you might want to use like a low or a medium so that way you don't see ghosting effects. But we don't have to worry about that for this picture here. As you can see, there's nothing moving. We're going to go ahead and leave it at none and hit merge. Then we do see it's creating an HDR at the upper left hand corner. Once that's done, what it's going to do is actually show up right next to photo number 6. We'll give this a minute here. Alright, and there we are. So what I usually go ahead and do is I use those little 3 indicators to know that it is an HDR photo. I go ahead and double click on it to open it. So by itself, it's already edited. Now I like to go ahead and hit develop and touch it up a little bit. We'll go ahead and do that. It already does a lot of the edits for you since it is actually taking all the exposures. I usually go ahead and try bumping up the clarity, a little bit of dehaze to it, and of course maybe some saturation overall. Maybe a little bit more vibrant as well. Just to go ahead and touch up the photo a little bit. We'll clear up a little bit of the haze. It is Florida. There's always haze in here. So clear that up. So this is pretty much what we get from an HDR photo. At least shot with the Phantom 4 Advanced. It's just merged. So what we're going to do, we're going to compare it. Let's compare it to the original single photo. So that's what we have here. Now you can definitely see that there is some haze here overall. Now, going back and forth, just looking at the 2 differences, there is a little bit of haze between on the original photo. It's very clear overall on the HDR photo. So we can still go into develop. You can go ahead, just do some auto settings, and it does brighten it up. You do get a lot more color and brightness back to everything. But there's still that haze, so we're going to go ahead and touch up. Do a little bit of dehazing here and there, but overall you got a lot of better contrast whenever it does come to the difference between the 2 photos. I personally, I've liked using the HDR settings overall. And it does go ahead and allow for a clearer picture. What I'm going to do is to take a couple other pictures. You don't get to actually see it on the screen record, but just of the sunset. Now, you know, who's really going to take a sunset? Usually you get an overexposed mess, right? What we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to merge these 5 photos I took. I did use the auto exposure bracketing. So we'll go ahead and go into photo merge, HDR, and then we'll wait for that HDR preview to go ahead and pop up. And it comes up, and you can see you can see the sun pretty well right there. You know, there's downtown Tampa. No movement once again with this photo, so we're not going to adjust any of the blur settings there. Just go ahead and merge the photos. Now we do have to wait for the HDR to process, of course. You see number 19 there. That's going to be the original photo we're going to go ahead and try comparing it to. There is the HDR photo. You can clearly see the sun right there. You can see downtown Tampa just underneath it. And I think it gives a lot of vibrance to this whole photo. Still, I like going into develop. I do like to go ahead and do a little clarity and haze once again. Maybe touch up the vibrance and saturation just a little bit once again. But, you know, very minimal edits overall. You can definitely clearly see downtown Tampa in this picture. I think it's a pretty cool photo overall. We can go ahead and go back to the original photo, just the single shot, which is going to be this one that I'm going to click on right here. You see it's really overexposed. Now I'm going to go ahead and hit auto just to have some auto corrections done, but just comparing right now. I'm going to hit auto. And you can see there's still a lot of overexposure right there where the sun is, whereas on the HDR photo, you don't have as much overexposure. So, you know, I can mess around with the clarity and the dehaze, but we're not going to get nearly as clear of a photo whenever it does come to the sun being right there in the middle of our shot. So that's it. That's how we get some pretty gorgeous shots overall. Even if you think you didn't get a really good shot, honestly, a couple of shots I did really great today, but they still turned out pretty good, especially the one in the sun. But this is how, I mean, honestly, I started messing around with these shots just over the weekend. I think I've gotten some pretty stellar shots overall. You can too. All you gotta do is use some AEB, turn them into some nice HDR photos, share them with me. I'm on Instagram, we got Facebook, you know, of course YouTube. Share your photos with me. I'd love to go ahead and see what you have. Until then, until next time, definitely go ahead, like the video if you liked it, share it, subscribe if you're not subscribed, and keep watching for more videos like this, and of course just videos of everywhere I go. Bye everyone!